Hello, my name is Courtney Johnson, Adult Education Coordinator for Helms at Temple, and this workshop will be about adding and subtracting fractions. Here's what you should expect in this workshop. First, we will develop your skills on adding and subtracting fractions by reviewing some basic fraction skills. Then, we will work on some problems step by step. Lastly, you'll get some time to do some independent practice. Let's get started. Let's go over some fraction basics. Fractions help us understand numbers as parts of a whole. All fractions have three parts. These three parts are the numerator, the fraction line, and the denominator. Here in this fraction, you can see that our numerator is 1, we have our fraction line, and our denominator is 2. Sometimes fractions can be displayed side by side, and you may see that in this workshop as well. If you see a fraction that is displayed side by side, such as 2/3, here the numerator is 2, and the denominator is 3. When we look at a fraction, we can tell that the numerator shows us how many parts of the whole are being considered, while the denominator shows us the total number of parts that have been created from the whole. Let's take a look at this first fraction. Say you want to show that you ate half of your pizza for dinner. One half is eaten, you can save the other half for later. Perhaps you are baking a cake and a recipe calls for 2/3 a cup of oil. Here in this fraction, the numerator is 2 and the denominator is 3. Now, let's talk about adding fractions with same denominators. Sometimes we need to add two fractions together. In order to do this, we need to make sure that the denominator of each fraction is the same. Let's take a look at these two fractions. 1/4 plus 2/4 equals, let's add our numerators together. Our answer is 3. Since the denominators are both 4, they stay the same in the answer. Our final answer is 3/4. Let's do some practice. Let's add 2/5 and 2/5 together. We can see that the denominators are the same. Let's add the numerators together. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Our final answer is 4/5. Here goes some you can try on your own. Did you get these answers? Let's make sure your answer is in the lowest terms. Let's say we need to add some fractions with different denominators. In order to do this, you'll first need to find the least common multiple. Let's add 3/5 and 2/10. The least common multiple for the denominator 5 and the denominator 10 is the number 10. 3/5 will become 6/10. Because 2 already has a denominator of 10, we don't need to change this fraction. 6/10 plus 2/10 equals 8/10. Our final answer is 4/5 because we have to make sure each of our answers is in the lowest terms. Let's take a look at some more fractions with different denominators. Let's try another one. 5/6 plus 4/5. What is the least common multiple for 6 and 5? The least common multiple is 30. We need to change 5/6 and 4/5 to two fractions that have equal denominators of 30. In order to do this, 5/6 becomes 25/30. We times 5 by 5 and 6 by 5 to get 25/30. 4/5 becomes 24/30. In order to do this, we times 4 by 6 and 5 by 6. 25/30 plus 24/30 equals 49/30. This is an improper fraction. We must change this to a mixed number, which equals 1 plus 19 over 30. Our final answer is 1 and 19/30. Try these on your own. Did you get these answers? Make sure if you get an improper fraction, you turn it into a mixed number. Let's move on to subtracting fractions with like denominators. Here's some good news. If you can add fractions, it's very easy to subtract fractions. Just like adding fractions, we first need to make sure that each of the denominators is the same before we subtract. 11 over 12 minus 4 over 12. Are both of these denominators the same? They are. 11 minus 4 is 7, and since the denominators are both 12, we don't need to change that in our answer. Our final answer is 7 over 12. Now we'll look at subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Similarly to adding fractions with unlike denominators, you'll need to make sure you find the lowest common multiple for each fraction before subtracting. 3/4 minus 1/2. The lowest common multiple for these two denominators is 4. 3/4 stays the same. 1/2 becomes 2 over 4. 3 minus 2 equals 1. Our final answer is 1 over 4, or 1/4. Let's get ready to try some independent practice. Here's some independent practice for you. I've included some fractions that you can add, some fractions that you can subtract. Make sure to remember that your denominators need to be the same before you add or subtract, and that if you have an improper fraction as the answer, that it needs to be changed to a mixed number. Thanks for joining me in this workshop on adding and subtracting fractions. Are you interested in some more practice? Feel free to click these links for more worksheets on adding and subtracting fractions. Bye. Take care.